What's the bulk of your last, since you got back from Scottsdale, what's kind of been the focus for you guys?
We took a couple days, stepping away from the field, just clear our heads, get our bodies back underneath us, put together a good plan for how we're going to practice this week and what it's going to look like. So, really, I think it was good for a lot of the guys. Go fishing, relax, catch up on schoolwork, hit the weight room. But just if they were at the field, it was just minor stuff, playing catch or maybe getting a couple swings, but cutting down on the workload to make sure we have our bodies in a good spot and our minds in a good spot going into regionals.
Kind of a blessing in disguise to get out of there early, to save the arms, a few bullets there, and kind of regroup.
Well, yeah, we got a couple of guys that are a little banged up, so I think when you're playing like those midweek games out in the sun, good to get down there, good to get some guys on the bump, good to get a lot of at bats and all that, but at the same time, plenty of other stuff as we're prepping for a regional. I think not playing 5 games like last year and the doubleheader situation, I think it took care of our bodies a lot differently this year. So I do think that the new tournament style is much healthier, but I'm sure we'll sit down as a conference and talk about what went well and what we need to still change.
What was your reaction to going to LSU in the regional, and how would you assess the field?
I figured we were going somewhere, but I didn't. I guess emotionless on my end. It's just like, let me know who we're playing and let us know where we're going so we can make the arrangements that we need to do to get there, and really just start prepping up and who we're playing. It really doesn't matter, I guess, necessarily which regional you're going to or who you're playing. If the end goal is to win it all in Omaha, you're going to get through like solid teams all across the country. So, selection show, I guess didn't watch it after our selection was done. It was time to go to work after that, but just kind of shocked at how some of that stuff worked out looking back at it, and not seeing some schools in there that we really thought we should, and but I'm not in there in that room, and so I guess having a day to process it and not jump out and start blabbing my opinions day one was important, so I was able to filter out some of my feelings and process it a little bit better, but don't really understand exactly how all that stuff works, and but that's why you have a committee, and you're hoping that they do the right things for the good of the game. But still, there's a handful of things in there that I personally thought differently on, and I know a lot of other people did. But no matter what opinions out there, no matter what pitcher I throw, some people are going to agree and some people are going to disagree. No matter what lineup I put out there, whether it be the plethora of different options that I've thrown out in the past, some people are going to agree and some people are going to disagree. So, there's a lot to unpack with that.
As nice as it was to probably have, like you said, those days for the guys just to take a break, you got your first taste of kind of win or go home. And obviously, probably you've liked to win a little bit more in that Pac-12 tournament. Just what have your guys kind of learned from that experience that you're hoping to take into regionals?
Well, I do believe that you want to win every game. There's never a game you walk away, and if you don't score more runs than the other team, that you're ever going to be happy. And so, no different than any other game throughout the season. But the idea of, hey, you will be packing your bags and going home if you don't win and go on. It's important for guys to feel that a bit. And that's going to be, the same case this weekend, next weekend, the weekend after that. You've got to win. And if you do drop a game, then you're going to do it the hard way. But really, with competitions across the country, it's never an easy way through any of this stuff. And looking back at it, I know there was a lot of people that were critical of pitching. Our offense is doing a great job, but if you look at any team that was down there, everyone was giving up runs. The dirt's firm, big ballpark, ball flies. There's no doubt that some of our guys didn't go out and perform to the best of their ability, but we're also, down a couple arms too. And so we give guys opportunities to get in those situations. And if we don't execute, we left some pitches middle, and we also threw too many balls out of the zone, non-competitive pitches, but at the same time, good to get that experience. And guys are filling in for, some guys that are banged up. So, but other guys are trying to go out there and compete through some stuff, which is where, having a couple of days off is very beneficial to reset mentally, physically, so that we're in a good spot this weekend.
Are you expecting this upcoming regional to be a similar offensive environment to what you just experienced at the Pac-12?
Well, I haven't been down to LSU, but I do know what our guys can do offensively. We saw them. Early in the year we didn't hit, right? We were hitting 191 in conference play the first couple of weeks, and those guys rebounded really well. They started to build an identity, and early on we really pitched, and we were one of the top teams in the country with pitching. So it's funny how the ebbs and flows of how everyone feels about things. It's all about now, right? What everyone wants. Whereas what we're trying to focus on is what can we control right now, and not necessarily worry about the positives and negatives early. If anything, offensively, we know we can rebound. Pitching-wise, we know what we're capable of doing. I know, take, for example, Tyler Mejia, a guy who has struggled his last handful of outings. He did go down to UCLA through 3 innings and did really well, put up zeros. And really the first almost over half of the season, he pitched extremely well. So he hit a little rough patch there. Freshman, getting a lot of appearances. And so sometimes people can be really critical of the young guys or of anyone else. But the big thing is not to let all that stuff get to you. I think that we have the capability of going down and being very offensive. I think we have the capability of going down and pitching and defending the way that anyone else can in the country. But obviously it's just a matter of, in that small sample size of those few days, who's going to do what.
What's Kamat's status for the?
He'll be down.
He'll be out.
Yep. So, we didn't throw him last week, and it's just been something that's been gradually just wearing on him a little bit. So he'll be down, the remainder of the season.
So how would your rotation stack up?
Sellers, game 1, and then from there, we have a handful of guys, whether it's Larson or Lattery, that have started before, and Ferrer as well is built up for that kind of situation. But also we've talked about how valuable he is out of the pen and to go multiple days if we have the lead, especially for tournament mode. But priority number 1 is game 1 against Sam Houston, and then we use what we can for that day, and who's ever ready in best situations to get the win, and then you go on to the next game. But when you're in a double elimination situation, it kind of moves around a little bit. Last week at the tournament, only going down there with one guy who's been consistently starting on the weekends with Sellers. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people wondering, but I don't really talk about guys and their bodies and how they're doing. I just kind of keep it in the clubhouse, so it can lead to a lot of speculation and disagreements for why I do what I do. But if it's what's best for him right now, I know Kamatz wants the ball. He always wants the ball, but also being real with what his body's saying right now and quieting it down for a while.
It seems like perhaps even more onus will be on the bullpen. Just it kind of has been all season, but you've got to feel good about how they performed all year.
Yeah, there's a lot of high points in there, and there can be some games. Obviously, anytime you go to the desert, I know some people were very critical of how many runs we allowed. Again, I thought it was much more than our character typically allows, but at the same time, every game was basically a high-scoring game down there. Based on the circumstances, that's how the ball moves in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Offenses are better on that firm dirt and with the thin air.
Yep.
But, I do know that's where it's comparable. You got to give up less runs. You got to execute pitches. The teams that do that and get more ground balls that, get more whiff are going to have a lot of success. But it is going to, put a lot more on the bullpen. There are a couple guys that are built up, but it's paying attention to their bodies, because if a guy goes 2 innings, he can come back the next day, depending on the person and the stress level of those pitches. So, I do know it's a win now mentality, but at the same time, we're never going to put any of our guys in jeopardy That's where communicating with them and understanding not only mentally how they feel, physically how they're feeling, but paying attention to a lot of those signs. Because you talk to Benny Ferrer, he's always feeling 100% and he wants the baseball. Even if he's not able to tie his own shoes, he's going to tell you he wants the baseball. But that's the kind of guys that are in the clubhouse. They all want it on each and every day, regardless of how much they threw the day before. So we just got to use our wisdom of seeing that stuff before and make sure we're being smart about it.
What have you seen from Sam Houston so far in the film?
Yeah, we've actually watched obviously quite a bit of film since as soon as the selection show's over, we start diving into them. Very offensive group. They watched a lot of the games that they've played in their own conference or even out of conference against good competition. They play solid baseball. They got a catcher who really likes to throw. They'll run. They'll do a lot of things the right way. So solid ball club, hence why they're going to a regional and they've done what they've done. But each of our guys is digging into them, not just the staff, but also the players. They want to be a part of that, and they want to learn about their opposition. They want to teach each other what they're seeing. And so it's kind of been fun the last couple of days. We're all doing our stuff on campus for our studies, but we're also doing our classroom stuff over here, preparing for our opponents.
Maybe not for this group because it's been a couple of years, but obviously some history between OSU and LSU. How do you kind of keep these guys focused on Sam Houston and not look forward to maybe even playing LSU? You never know, they may lose in the first round. So.
I mean, I'm not worried about this group thinking too far ahead. I know as you look at the regional, a lot of the guys are excited about each of those teams and who they're going to play. They all follow college baseball very closely, and they know who the elite players are on each of the teams. And so if they got good pitching, all of our hitters are excited about facing good pitching. If they got good hitters, our pitchers are excited about facing those guys and getting them out. So that's kind of the exciting part. That's what I heard walking out of the selection show, where I was like, I really want to face so-and-so, and I really want to hit off this guy, and I really like... So in order to do that, you got to keep winning games and put yourself in a good situation so you can face great competition. But that's the encouraging part. Like, there was never any, oh no, we're going here, or we're doing this. Everyone just came out of there excited. As soon as they announced we're going somewhere, the guys were thrilled. And really, I think regardless of where we get sent to, that culture in that clubhouse is eager to go anywhere and everywhere to play a game.
At the beginning of the year, a lot of people thought that maybe this was going to be a rebuilding year for you guys. And you said from the start that it is not. These guys are here to compete, and you guys did that throughout the Pac-12 season. Just how have you seen this team kind of grow throughout the season to this point in that identity that they do have those skills and they do deserve to be in the regional?
Yeah, I know we have a lot of young guys, but that's what the fall's for, is getting everyone clicking on the same page. And at Oregon State, expectations are always high. If you look at any polls or something, what they picked us to be 5th or something in the pack, taking 2nd in conference. I think the growth throughout the year, that's what this program's always been about. We had a lot of young guys on the mound and on the playing defense, running the bags, getting at bats. A lot of growth. We saw that growth happen with Turley. We saw guys like Dallas Macias playing the outfield, who played, infield all through high school. Huge strides from Mason Guerra. Bazana and Forster continuing to, do what they do best: get on base, create havoc, drive in runs. Kane's played a great third base. Dernetti's been a rock star at shortstop all year. I mean, Casper's made huge jumps in his game as well. McDowell, obviously took a huge leap in his mentality and approach. But that's like development. I think one of the biggest things we talk about is, we get, a couple hours a day to work with the guys as coaches, and that's not where development necessarily takes its biggest jumps. It's always been the lonely work. It's the other 21 hours that they get to spend with each other that's important. That's why having a great group of guys and spending so much time together in the fall, getting them on the same page to what our pillars are and how to go about it, then we can trust that they're going to take those 21 hours and do the right thing with it, whether it's rest, nutrition, mobility stuff, or getting in the cage and working, or playing catch with a purpose. So I'm not going to say I'm surprised. of what they've accomplished thus far, because and for each of the guys, I was talking to Bazana about this not too long ago, sitting out here on the bench, and he's like, I believe in every single one of our guys. You know, that's a great feeling, right? And so do I. And these guys are going to continue to work. I know how desperately they want it, and I know how mad they were about going down to Arizona for the tournament and not winning it all. Like that, those are high expectations, but you know, it's good. It's good to feel some of the pain. And we've talked about this before. It's one thing to get sad, and it's another thing to get mad. And when you get mad, you want to get even. And I think that really put a lot of fuel into them. Even yesterday, as we started practice, just looking at their intensity, they wanted to get going. They said, "Okay, coach, stop talking. We're ready to go practice. Let's get after it." And outfielders are challenging each other, going after balls in the outfield. Pitchers are throwing competitive pins. We got lives going on, and batting practice too. Put the machine as close as we can to them, rev it up, and put them in a situation to fail and see how they respond to it. It's what's going to make them better.
Is there much pressure for you guys not hosting a regional? You're kind of, I don't want to say playing with house money, being on the road, but I mean, you've hosted before, not hosting. Kind of free you up a little bit, or not really change anything?
Whether it's home or on the road, obviously we all know it'd be phenomenal to play here, and we really all wanted to do that. With RPI and all this other stuff, I felt like this group and this atmosphere here is very well deserving of hosting. But I don't think it's gonna take away or add any of our intensity on where we're going. Pressure is only something you put on yourself. Like, if we were playing here, we're going to play against great competition. If we're playing on the road, we're going to play against great competition. But we are also a great ball club. So, I mean, there's no doubt. You love playing at home, and it's the emotions that the guys have, especially for our older guys. Ben didn't want to come out of the game the last time he pitched here, because he's like, I never want this to be the last time I pitch here. I want to keep doing it. You saw that when he got a standing ovation coming out of there, and like guys like Cooper Jerpy last year getting to pitch at home and throw at Jim and getting a curtain call. Those are like huge moments, just emotion that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So every chance we get to play here in front of our fans it is extremely special. We don't take it for granted if it's in February or if it's in the end of May and June. They're all special to us.
Hey, outside of Jaron and Jacob, are there any other guys who will be available that are like regulars or whatever?
Tall. He won't be moving around on the roster this weekend. He got a little banged up as well a little while back, but I mean,
yeah.
But as far as the arms, those are
the only two.
Those are the only two.
And then Tulsi, the only guy.
Yeah.
Like Mike is fine.
Yeah.
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 I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tricky spot when we're down there, and he gets banged up diving for a ball. Nothing big, just finger stuff. But he's been practicing fine the last few days.